Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. In this video, we are going to look at Groq Chat. First, I will tell you about Groq because it's a fascinating startup based out of the United States, and they have been on a remarkable journey so far. And they have been, flagged as one of the fastest uh, LLM inference provider, you can say, right? Because their models, the system that they have built, which is backed by a very unique processing unit or a unique processor, which helps you interact with these LLMs, on a rapid pace. And that's what we're going to look at. The speed which it generates the output is fantastic. And I'll show you that how you can build a simple Groq chat app just to test out, if it's working fine for your use cases and whatnot, right? So just to tell you about Groq a bit, their founders are amazing. If you look at the journey that their founders have so far, and their background. So one of the CEO and founder of Groq, he has history of working with the Google team where they have worked on TPUs, tensor processing unit. Now you can understand, you can relate. The all the expertise and the experience of working with these hardware level architectures and these TPUs, they already have worked on those kind of architectures and processors and things like that. And the all those experiences, if you can bring it together, and of course you will have something fantastic. And that's why we have Groq now, which have been the fastest as so far we have seen, when it comes to generating responses. There are trade-offs, by the way. We'll talk about that once we start going into it. So they support a few models. As of now, they support the Mixtral model by Mixtral AI, which is a mixture of experts model, and they also support Llama and other models. Uh, if you look at on my screen currently, I have something called Groq Chat app. Most of the code has been taken by Groq documentation only. They have given us, in most of this. Now we'll test it out how you can of course build this and how you can use this as a large language model, this model that you see here. So right now we can see two models. One is Mixtral ATEX 7B and the Llama 2. Of course there's some version that you see with the context window and things like that. Now Llama 2 70B and Mixtral, all the bigger models we have. And then we have one inference parameter called conversational memory length, which is not that important for this video. Now if I ask the question, let's ask the question here and see what is, or I'll just ask like this. Can you list down a study plan if I have to crack an AI interview? Now, this is what I'm going to ask. Okay. And if you look at the Now, if you look at the output, it's fantastic. It's blazing fast, and you can see it says apps. And I was not even streaming, by the way. Of course, you can stream. So if you look at on Groq Lab or any other tool that Groq provides as a testing or other playground, those they are basically streaming the responses. Even that looks even faster, than what we saw here. Now it says absolutely. I would be happy to help you create a study plan for cracking an interview. Here is general plan that you can adjust: mathematics basics, which is right programming, machine learning fundamentals, deep learning basics, and then go into specializations topics like natural language and the RNNs and the LSTMs and things like that, right? Then you have hands-on projects. Then you go into projects and then you start preparing for interviews. So it will given you a plan. It also gives you a bit of conclusion kind of a thing. Now it was pretty fast. Grow can be used, where you are facing challenges with latency. I'll tell you about some use cases. When you want to build a chatbot with open source LLMs, probably the way we are currently doing with the GPUs on A100 and things like that from SageMaker or any other cloud providers, they are not that fast. So sometimes you might face a latency challenge, where for customer support, contact center, call center, these kind of use cases where an end user will not wait for 50 seconds or 1 minute or 2 minutes, to get a response. They need that in few seconds, and that's what we have to do, right? So, and that's why Grok is important for those kind of use cases. And there have been scenarios where I have noticed a bit of performance trade-off. Of course the model remains the same, but sometimes it does hallucinates. I have noticed that, but I think I'll skip that part. Not that important. As I say that if you are getting this speed for the response, I can a few things can be ignored, I believe. But depends on what kind of use cases you are solving, and if you are working for a regulatory industry, then those are the things that you have to take care of. But This is fantastic. It's they have a tensor streaming processor. That's fantastic that they have built. They have built a processor. So the founder has expertise in building language processing unit, the LPU. We are aware of it, and the streaming processor that they have built. And now, by the way, guys, if you are interested to buy the card, if you want to purchase the Groq card, I think it is available around 20K US dollar. You can purchase that and inference large language model, so you can set up that as a machine, right? You can do that. That is available. I was reading it somewhere on Reddit. Now let's see how we can build this Streamlit application, so you can also try it out in your machine. Of course, the code will be available on my GitHub repository, so if you don't want to watch the complete video, just skip that, go on GitHub and get the code from there. But let's see how we can build this now. All right, so to build this application, guys, we need a few things. So these are the requirements txt that you see. I already have installed it, but I'll just show you what are the things that you need. You need a Streamlit because we're gonna build a Streamlit interface. Then we have LangChain as an orchestration framework. We have LangChain Groq. Groq has their so Groq is available through LangChain, and you can use that LangChain Groq basically as a Groq client that you can use. And then we are using python.env because I have stored the API key in the env file that you see it over here. I'll say that. Now the question is, how can I get an API key to test it out? So this is where you can get it. If you come over here, you can find out your API keys over here. You have to create an API key. This is the website, basically the console. I'll give the link in description. You can just go, and it looks very similar to OpenAI Playground. And of course, that's how the backend and everything looks like. They will be very using very similar stuff, by the way. Now low latency, they say, which is fantastic. We have the similar things like temperature, max tokens, and if you go advanced, you have different inference parameters. Let's see, this is how you can create an API key, and once you have an API key, you can get started with that. So let's get started and see how we can do that. Now it's still running. I've stopped that. Now the first thing is we're going to create an app.py. Okay, so let's create an app.py. Now we're going to import a few libraries. So let's get import Streamlit as st, and then I need import OS. I also need from Groq. I'm gonna import Groq. And once you do that, I want to import a few other things. So let's get import random. And then from now LangChain thingy. So from LangChain dot chains import, and I'm going to use conversation chain. So you're gonna rely on a bit on the state. Okay, so excuse me. Import conversation chain. You can see this chain that I'm going to use. You can also use other retrieval. So same way, guys, I'm not covering the embeddings part of it because I have tons of videos on how to create embeddings and how to build a RAG. Only thing you have to change the LLM part of it. So this will become your LLM. Rest will remain the same. If you want to go ahead with Pinecone, Weaviate, Chroma, Qdrant, Fast, whatever, right? Now, if you look at over here, the next thing is to get the conversation buffer window memory. So let's do that. So from LangChain dot chains, and I'm going to do conversation dot memory, and then I'm going to import conversation buffer memory. Okay. Now from LangChain underscore Groq, and here I'm going to use the chat Groq, and this is where the LLM system resides, that we configure, and where we'll pass our inference parameter and things like that. So let's see that. Now chat Groq, and then I'm going to use prompt. So from langchain dot prompts, and I'm going to use prompt template. So let's use the prompt template. It's a class, and then .env. So from dot en not doc test, from .env import load.env, and let's use the load.env immediately. And then I'm going to use then I'm going to do Groq underscore API underscore key, and I'm just going to do os.env. Okay, so os.environment, it's a list, and then you have to give the same name that you have defined in the env file. So let's do that. So what I'm going to do is, this is how I'm going to define. So I have defined like this: Groq API key all caps and underscore between them. So you can see this is how I have to do that. Now this 13 line that you see, it has our API key set. You can use export, you can use set depending on what kind of OS that you are using. Yeah, but for simplicity, and not simplicity, for confidentiality, I'm saving it in an env file. That is a better way of doing. Now let's do a def main. And I want to write all my code logic. By the way, I'll just do if underscore name underscore main, and excuse me. Okay. And I'm just going to do main. Cool. And I'm going to write all the logic inside this. So the first thing is let's give a title. So st.title, and I'm going to call this at Groq Chat app and something like this. This becomes my title, and then I have a sidebar. You could see the sidebar where you have an option to select any of these LLMs that Groq provides. You can use it for free for testing, like Mixtral, the Llama 70B, and also let's do that. So st dot sidebar, and you can give a title of the sidebar. So let's give title and uh, select LLM, or select an LLM rather. Okay, and then st dot uh, we have two, so let's call it model, and then because you have to do a choice, so model st dot sidebar dot selection, or dot selection, or the select box, okay, which is a function, and inside select box we can write a few things. The first is gonna give a header, choose a model, and then inside that you're gonna have a mixtral, uh, which is 8x7b, 8x7b, and then the version number, let me have a look, which is 32768, probably the context. Okay, and then we're gonna pass next is a llama. Okay, so llama to 70b, and then I'm going to pass 4096. Now this becomes fantastic. Okay, now we have mixtral model, and then we have llama model. This is done. Now let's have a conversational buffer. So here model is fine, and I'm going to do a length, that how many previous, basically this is for context, guys, how many previous responses you want to fit that as a memory, in your memory. So conversational memory, and let's call it length, and I'm going to use st.slidebar, and I'm going to use slider here. It has a slider thingy, and let's get conversational memory length, and then excuse me, and let's keep minimum as 1, max at 10, and then I'll set the value equals 5 as default. That's what you were seeing earlier. Now I'm gonna give a memory, so memory equals conversational buffer memory, which is here. Okay, now inside this, let's just pass k equal to conversational memory length. Now in the buffer memory, we are looking at the 5 previous context, as a context, 5 responses that we have. Now let's take the user question. So user underscore question, and this is going to be a text area for me. I'll take a text area, and then I'm going to ask a question. And now here, let's session state variable is fantastic in Streamlit, that helps you manage your basically a session. Not, of course, which is, you should not do this in kind of a production setting, but good for faster prototyping. Okay. Now if chat history in st dot is chat history not in st dot session underscore state, then you just create a list. So st dot session state dot chat underscore history, and this is making sense to me. Okay, now this looks good. Okay, now this is an empty list, and then we're gonna go else. For message in st dot, this is fine. For message in st dot session dot chat history, and then saving the context. So memory dot save context, and then we can define a key value pair for better readability. Input then goes message, and then it's basically human, and then message human, and then you write output, and then message, which is, then let's call it AI or something like this. Okay, okay, cool. Now this is done. Now I'm gonna initialize the Groq chat. So I'm gonna call this Groq underscore chat equals, and then I'm going to call this chat Groq. And inside this, let's pass our API key first. So this is how you define. So it's a Groq API key equal, and I already have Groq API key. This one I'm just gonna use that from env. And the next is Groq API key equal Groq API key, and then model name And then model name is nothing but whatever we have. I think that is line number 19, which is model, the whatever they select, okay, the end user. Now Groq Chat is also, it has been initiated. Now let's get our conversation. So I'm going to do conversation equals, and I'm going to pass conversation chain, and let's use the conversation chain, and I'm going to pass inside this LLM equals. And this is, guys, if you want to build a RAG with Groq Chat, this is where you have to tweak. So you can see I'm going to pass LLM equal to not OpenAI, not Claude, not Mistral or anything. I'm just passing Groq Chat, which becomes my LLM now. Okay, so this is how you pass. Okay, Groq Chat, and then inside this I'm going to have memory equals memory. Okay, now my conversation is also ready. Okay, and I'm just going to, if you, so let's have the user asking question. Okay, so for that, if user question, just making the check. So if they click hit enter, then this logic should get executed. Now response equal conversation, and inside this I'm going to pass user question, as simple as that. Response, and then message equals, and then you can show message equals, and you can have human because we have human and AI, and this is nothing but the user question, and then we have AI, which is nothing but your response. So let's do that. You can see this is my response, but it should not only be response. We have to parse the output. I know, I have seen it earlier, and this is how we have to parse. So response. Okay, message response, and now I'm going to have session state again. So st.session state chat history. I'm going to append the message. So I'm going to append the message. So basically, we have an empty list over here. You can see in line 32, this will get appended with our questions answers. I mean, this message that we have with human. And now I'm going to just write the chatbot. So st.write, and then I'm going to write chatbot. Better to have status messages like st.info or something like that, but it's fine. Response, and then in response I'm going to pass a response. Very simple, guys. Response. Let's run this now. So our code is ready. If you look at this is what we have coded. I'll just explain that quickly to you. We have user question. Let's start from top. So we are importing all the libraries that is required. We have load.env. We have setting our API key, and then we have written a main function. Inside the main function, we are setting a title, then have some options to select model, and then we are have a slider that basically tells you how many previous input output to consider as a context for memory. And then we have memory initiations over here, conversation buffer memory, and then session state variable, and then I'm initiating a Groq chat, which is my LLM in this case. And this is I'm passing LLM equal to Groq chat memory, and then I'm just having a condition, only execute the code if there's a question inside the input box and has been hit enter. Now let's run this code, guys, and see what we get over here. To run this, we're gonna open our uh, terminal, and I'm just going to run streamlit run app.py. Once I do that, I'll just close all of previous one, and you can see this is how we can see there's an input text area, ask a question. You can keep a button also, guys. This will make more sense, right? We can keep button or something like ask. Probably we can do that, html button and something like that. Okay. Now here we have Mixtral, you can see, and then we have Llama. You can select. Let me ask a question. So what should we ask? Uh, Give me a code snippet for building a regression model using scikit-learn. And once I hit enter, you can see it has given me, it says it, and automatically, because we have Streamlit and stuff, it automatically understands the code. And some, you can see this is the code that has been generated, which is in code. You can also copy it. Sure, I would be happy to help you with, and you can see how fast it was, guys. Of course, it's faster than ChatGPT. There's no doubt about it. But I will even not compare this with ChatGPT. It's a different class altogether, guys. Let's stop comparing OpenAI models with all the upcoming model every day. When somebody starts growing, a lot of people, they want to pull that thing down, right? OpenAI, what they have done is fantastic, right? Of course, there's a debate of open source, closed source, but they have a lot of open source model as well. But they have to make money, guys. If you see Mistral, they also have a lot of proprietary model. Mistral large, they also came up with a new Mistral model recently, which is also proprietary. Eventually there'll be different revenue stream, or there'll be different ways to make money. Meta also does make a lot of money. They have money, they can burn that for open source. So keep this in mind. Don't go with popular opinions, what people have been telling you on LinkedIn. Now if you look at over here, right, give me a code snippet for building a regression model using scikit-learn. It gives you the model. Now I want to test it out. I'll see if we are handling the session state. Tell me more about it and see if he's able to give me that, or we need a more of a chatbot kind of an interface. When I said tell me more about it, you can see it gives me. So it basically understands the memory. So we don't have a chatbot interface, which is more like a question answering interface where you ask one question, you get one answer. But even though it's able to understand your previous context, that question that we have asked, it says, of course, I'd be happy to provide more details about this code snippet and regression model. The code snippet I provided is blah, blah, blah. It's explaining everything, which is fantastic. I loved it, guys. Even I've done some of the reasoning test with Groq Chat. I can see the models are same. The only thing happens here is that they have a different processor. The way they have created the architecture for that, I think that's amplify or complement these LLMs, okay, to generate faster responses. But credit goes to Groq. I'm really impressed by them. We uh, I've been looking at Groq for many months now, and we'll see how it goes. But again, right, you are sending your data to them, so we have to see. You see Grok, right? I'll be happy if they make it open source, because anyway you guys are saying that OpenAI is not making open source. Let's see if Grok can make open source, or Pinecone can make their service open source. We have to see that. Uh, anyway, guys, the code will be available on our GitHub repository, and you can go and fork the repository, use that as it is, or you can also deploy this on GitHub as well through. Let's see that, probably why not? Okay, so I'm gonna go on. Ah, or probably I have a lot of videos. You can go through that video and do it. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you like the content I've been creating. Have more than 250 videos on large language model and the related topics, the Gen AI ecosystem. Go through different playlist, learn, upskill. And if you have any question, thoughts, feedbacks, please let me know in the comment box. You can also reach out to me through my social media channels. Find those information on channel banner and channel about us. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.